Today we are reading from Shambhala, The Sacred Path of the Warrior, and we are actually reading chapter 8, which is called Renunciation and Daring. Let me see if I can get this to focus for you. All right. So, chapter 8, Renunciation and Daring. What the warrior renounces is anything in his experience that is a barrier between himself and others. In other words, renunciation is making yourself more available, more gentle, and open to others. The situation of fear that exists in our lives provides us with stepping stones to step over our fear. On the other side of cowardice is bravery. If we step over properly, we can cross the boundary from being cowardly to being brave. We may not discover bravery right away. Instead, we may find a shaky tenderness beyond our fear. We are still quivering and shaking, but there is tenderness rather than bewilderment. Tenderness contains an element of sadness, as we've discussed. It is not the sadness of feeling sorry for yourself or feeling deprived, but it is a natural situation of fullness. You feel so full and rich, as if you were about to shed tears. Your eyes are full of tears, and the moment that you blink, the tears will spill out of your eyes, and they'll roll down your cheeks. In order to be a good warrior, one has to feel this sad and tender heart. If a person does not feel alone and sad, he cannot be a warrior at all. The warrior is sensitive to every aspect of phenomena: sight, smell, sound, feelings. He appreciates everything that goes on in his world as an artist does. His experience is full and extremely vivid. The rustling of leaves, the sound of raindrops on his coat are very loud. Occasional butterflies fluttering around him may be almost unbearable because he is so sensitive. Because of his sensitivity, the warrior can then go further in developing his discipline. He begins to learn the meaning of renunciation. In the ordinary sense, renunciation is often connected with asceticism. You give up the sense pleasures of the world and embrace an austere spiritual life in order to understand the higher meaning of existence. In the Shambhala context, renunciation is quite different. What the warrior renounces is anything in his experience that is a barrier between himself and others. In other words, renunciation is making yourself more available, more gentle, and open to others. Any hesitation about opening yourself to others is removed. For the sake of others, you renounce your privacy. The need for renunciation arises when you begin to feel that basic goodness belongs to you. Of course, you cannot make a personal possession out of basic goodness. It is the law and the order of the world, which is impossible to possess personally. It is a greater vision, much greater than your personal territory or schemes. Nonetheless, sometimes you try to localize basic goodness in yourself. You think that you can take a little pinch of basic goodness and keep it in your pocket. So the idea of privacy begins to creep in. That is the point at which you need renunciation. Renunciation of the temptation to possess basic goodness. It is necessary to give up a localized approach, a provincial approach, and to accept a greater world. Renunciation also is necessary if you are frightened by the vision of the great eastern sun. When you realize how vast and good the great eastern sun is, sometimes you feel overwhelmed. You feel that you need a little shelter from it, a roof over your head, and 3 square meals a day. You try to build a little nest, a little home to contain or limit what you have seen. It seems too vast, so you like to take photographs of the great eastern sun and keep them as a memory, rather than staring directly into the light. The principle of renunciation is to reject any small-mindedness of that kind. The sitting practice of meditation provides an ideal environment to develop renunciation. In meditation, as you work with your breath, you regard any thoughts that arise as just your thinking process. You don't hold on to any thought, and you don't have to punish your thoughts or praise them. The thoughts that occur during sitting practice are regarded as natural events, but at the same time, they don't carry any credentials. The basic definition of meditation is having a steady mind. In meditation, when your thoughts go up, you don't go up, and you don't go down. When your thoughts go down, you just watch as the thoughts go up and thoughts go down. Whether your thoughts are good or bad, exciting or boring, blissful or miserable, you let them be. You don't accept some and reject others. You have a sense of greater space that encompasses any thought that may arise. In other words, in meditation, you can experience a sense of existence or being that includes your thoughts, is not conditioned by your thoughts or limited to your thinking process. You experience your thoughts, you label them thinking, and you come back to your breath, going out, expanding, and dissolving into space. It is very simple, but it is quite profound. You experience your world directly, and you do not have to limit that experience. You can be completely open, with nothing to defend and nothing to fear. In that way, you are developing renunciation, or personal territory, and small-mindedness. At the same time, renunciation does involve discrimination. Within the basic context of openness, there is a discipline of what to ward off or reject, or what to cultivate or accept. The positive aspect of renunciation, what is cultivated, is caring for others. But in order to care for others, it is necessary to reject caring only for yourself, or the attitude of selfishness. A selfish person is like a turtle carrying its home on its back wherever it goes. At some point, you have to leave home and embrace the larger world. That is the absolute prerequisite for being able to care for others. In order to overcome this selfishness, it is necessary to be daring. It is as though you were dressed in your swimsuit, standing on the diving board with a pool in front of you, and you ask yourself, now what? The obvious answer is jump. That is daring. You might wonder if you will sink or hurt yourself if you jump. You might. There is no insurance, but it is worthwhile jumping to find out what will happen. The student warrior has to jump. We are so accustomed to accepting what is bad for us and rejecting what is good for us. We are attracted to our cocoons, our selfishness, and we are afraid of selflessness, stepping beyond ourselves. So in order to overcome our hesitation about giving up our privacy, and in order to commit ourselves to others' welfare, some kind of leap is absolutely necessary. In the practice of meditation, the way to be daring, the way to leap, is to disown your thoughts, to step beyond your hope and fear, the ups and downs of your thinking process. You can just be, just let yourself be, without holding on to the constant reference point that the mind manufactures. You do not have to get rid of your thoughts. They are a natural process. They are fine. Let them be as well. But let yourself go out with the breath. Let it dissolve. See what happens. When you let yourself go in that way, you develop trust in the strength of your being and trust in your ability to open it and extend yourself to others. You realize that you are rich and resourceful enough to give selflessly to others, and as well, you find that you have tremendous willingness to do so. But then, once you have made a leap of daring, you might become arrogant. You might say to yourself, look, I have jumped. I am so great, so fantastic. But arrogant warriorship does not work. It does nothing to benefit others. So the discipline of renunciation also involves cultivating further gentleness, so that you remain very soft and open and allow tenderness to come into your heart. The warrior, who has accomplished true renunciation, is completely naked and raw, without even skin or tissue. He has renounced putting on a new suit of armor or growing a thick skin, so his bone and marrow are exposed to the world. He has no room and no desire to manipulate situations. He is able to be, quite fearlessly, what he is. At this point, having completely renounced his own comfort and privacy, paradoxically, the warrior finds himself more alone. He is like an island, sitting alone in the middle of the lake. Occasional ferry boats and commuters go back and forth between the shore of the island, but all that activity only expresses the further loneliness or the aloneness of the island. Although the warrior's life is dedicated to helping others, he realizes that he will never be able to completely share his experience with others. The fullness of his experience is his own, and he must live with his own truth. Yet he is more and more in love with the world. That combination of love affair and loneliness is what enables the warrior to constantly reach out to help others. By renouncing his private world, the warrior discovers a greater universe and a fuller and fuller broken heart. This is not something to feel bad about. It is a cause for rejoicing. It is entering the warrior's world. The end of chapter 8. Thank you for watching, folks. If you've missed any of the previous chapters to this book, you can find. Have a beautiful day.